Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What a beautiful crowd. Hello, Arkansas. Hello, leadership of Arkansas. Hello, all of our communities. It is good to see you here. Months ago, we began planning for this summit, knowing that Arkansas was long overdue for a frank discussion of the challenges we face in a world transformed by technology. At that time, of course, we had no idea that this meeting would coincide with an unprecedented economic upheaval. But here we are. And if anything, the events of the past month have underscored the urgent need for action. The world is changing. And while Arkansas has started changing, we must accelerate our pace. This doesn't come as news to any of you all. But the rate of change in global economies has become increasingly rapid and unrelenting. When we've lagged behind before, it's always seemed that there was time and room for recovery. If we fall behind today, we risk falling behind forever. Arkansas's workforce isn't fully equipped to compete in the 21st century economy, and we must all work to change that. If we don't, our children and our children's children will struggle against the tide of poverty in a world that will have left them behind. That danger is real. However, it is not inevitable. We can craft a different future, but we have to take action right now. You and me and everyone in this room, and everyone we know in our communities around the state. Teachers, bankers, mayors, farmers, mothers, fathers, lawyers, doctors, all Arkansans. You care about your state, your county, your hometown, and your neighborhood. You care enough to drive to Little Rock, pay $100 to be here, because you know it's time. Time for Arkansas to shrug off the old labels and the old stereotypes. Too small, too rural, too poor. You know what the worst thing about a label is? If you wear one long enough, you start to believe it yourself. I've heard it, you've heard it. People who insist that Arkansas can't change and won't change, that our children can't learn the skills that they will need. They can't do science, they can't do math, can't create the environment needed for high-tech industries to flourish. Well, they're wrong. And here's why I know that. Phillips County, one of the poorest counties in the whole United States, has 20 people here today. 20 people ready to do whatever it takes to chart a new course. Clark County, where are you, Clark County? Clark County, on the move, 75 strong here today, ready to make a change. Too small? Too rural? Too poor? I'm not buying it. Donnie Whitten, the superintendent of the Arkadelphia Public Schools, isn't buying it. Billy Ray at Phillips County Chamber isn't buying it. And you don't have to buy it either. We got word from the federal government just this week. While Arkansas is still toward the bottom of the list for per capita income in this country, we're starting to see movement. Movement in a category that is hard to move. In the past year, in 2007, we moved ahead of Utah in the per capita rankings and are within striking distance of Kentucky and New Mexico. You know how hard it is to go from 48th to 47th to 46th to 45th? Wow, excuse me, with more work, with what you all are doing here today, we'll keep moving up that list. Today, we're going to hear from people from throughout our state and beyond who are making meaningful changes in their communities, in their schools, in their colleges, in their businesses. We're going to talk about what's working in Arkansas and around the country. We're going to talk about how we will change those things that don't work and that must be improved. We're going to cut to the heart of the matter and talk about education. I've said it multiple times a day since my campaign, and I'll keep saying it every single day because it is the foundation of who we are and what this administration is about. Education and economic development are inseparable. They are two sides of the same coin. Education is economic development. You can't have one without the other. Here's why. In the old economy, capital and labor drove growth. The old AIDC could lure companies to Arkansas because starting a business here was cheap. You know, land was inexpensive, labor costs were low, anywhere else, lower than just about anywhere else in the country. Governors could spread the opportunity around because every community was basically selling the same thing. Maria Haley will tell you that in today's economy, capital and labor costs are no longer driving American growth. The markets for those two commodities are now worldwide, and prices are dropping. Well, maybe not so much for capital right at this moment, but that'll change. The companies that Maria and AEDC are courting now look for an educated, trainable workforce that will add value to their products. Thomas Friedman said it best: a world in which routine work is largely done by machines is a world in which the workers who cannot contribute to the design of the products they are fabricating may be as obsolete as the last model of that product. Technology has driven economies since the Stone Age. The difference today is that technology is so advanced and so ingrained in our lives that not even the most basic jobs can be done without a higher degree of technological skill. Case in point, the Ford Taurus, America's most basic generic car, no offense to my friend Mac McClarty, has more than 120 computer chips, more computing power than the Apollo lunar landers ever had. The global economy is adapting to this technology, and we must adapt as well. Unskilled labor can't drive our modern economy. Other parts of the world have cheaper land and many more people willing to work for pennies on the dollar. The new economy has one dominant rule: knowledge-based jobs will make you successful, and they can make you rich. The exploitation of natural resources may give you a short-term boost, but in the long run will leave you poor. When your economy is built on natural resources, you have to produce more as your population grows to earn the same amount. The average farmer has to produce 3 times as much grain to make the same real income he had 50 years ago. And so farms get bigger and employ fewer people. Bioscience is one of the fastest growing sectors of the global economy and an exploding source of new knowledge for the world and for us right here in Arkansas. Research performed today at the Arkansas Biosciences Institute will turn Arkansas crops into medicine to fight addictions and to treat cancer. It will convert those crops into fuels that will allow us to curb our dependence on imported oil to the benefit of our environment and to the benefit of our national security. Chemical engineers at the University of Arkansas are experimenting with biodiesel made from rendered chicken fat from Tyson and waste oils produced at Georgia Pacific's Crossett plant. These efforts and others are adding value to Arkansas's existing agricultural resources, and that's critical in growing the economies of both the Delta and of South Arkansas. Research and development are creating new knowledge and new economic opportunities for Arkansas. At the University of Arkansas's nanotechnology centers in Fayetteville and Little Rock, we've become the world's #1 supplier of nanomaterials, attracting millions of dollars in federal funding. Working on the cutting edge of this emerging field, Arkansas researchers have invented new materials never before seen on Earth that will revolutionize our search for alternative energies, green transportation, and new treatments for disease. Knowledge, ideas, technology are different than traditional resources. Find a new idea and create a new technology once, and you can sell it over and over again. And the more you sell, the more valuable it becomes.